The last time I talked about my fibromyalgia and my chronic pain in general, I think was about 6 months ago on this channel, and I'm in a bit of a different place right now with it than I was at that time, and I kind of just want to talk about that right now and a couple other things that are on my mind right now. So I thought we would just hang out for a little bit and chat about all of that while I do my skincare for the night. Let's get started. I have not been taking the best care of my skin in the past week or so. So I'm gonna be doing what I consider to be my rescue skincare routine. Probably not every part of it, because honestly I'm just really tired and don't feel like doing all of it, which is certainly related to the thing that I want to talk about today, but we'll get into that. First I'm going to do my dermaplaning and we will chat while I do that. So I believe the last time I talked about my fibromyalgia and my chronic pain in general was back in June, and the overarching feeling at the time was, yes, the despair of it all, which creeps back up periodically and is inevitable when you live with chronic illness. At least for me, I have good phases and then I inevitably end up back in phases where the despair hits me full force. But at that time, I was, yes, feeling the despair. I was having a difficult time, but at the same time, I was feeling the spite that I feel is necessary sometimes in order for me to just keep going. And I was feeling really determined despite being in so much pain all the time and feeling that underlying despair. I was so determined to keep living my life, whether or not it hurt. And of course, this was back in summer when I was doing a lot of stuff and I was having a lot of fun. I was spending so much time with my friends and the people I love, and we were just like living it the fuck up, right? And I was having the time of my life this summer. It was truly one of the best summers of my life thus far. Despite the fact that I was in so much pain, I was still having all this fun. That was kind of the message at the time when I was talking about it in that vlog back in June. Essentially, given the title of that vlog, I'm gonna live my life and I don't care if it hurts. And I wanna know where that version of me went. Because lately I have been feeling so beaten down by the pain and the fatigue. And I am about probably almost 2 months at this point, 2 months into a pretty bad pain flare-up. And I can't remember a time ever where the pain has been this bad for this long consistently. I wake up every day dreading everything that I have to do. My job more than anything else. There are times when I wake up and I just fucking cry. I just like lay in bed and cry at the thought of having to go to work. But you know what? I do it anyway. If you don't know, I'm a cashier, so I'm on my feet constantly at work. And it has been wreaking absolute havoc on my body. It doesn't help that I am in such a bad pain flare-up at the moment and have been for almost 2 months now. A part of me is kind of scared, to be honest, because of how long it's lasted and it's like showing no signs of getting better. A part of me is a little bit worried that it has simply progressed and is just gonna keep progressing. Now, fibromyalgia is not like a progressive illness by any means. It's not like, I mean, certainly when you're living with fibromyalgia for years on end, it can get worse over time, but when I say progressive illness, I guess what I mean is like there aren't like stages of progression for fibromyalgia. It's just your symptoms are what they are, and if they get worse, they get worse. Sometimes they fluctuate, sometimes they get a little bit better without explanation, and probably a lot of other people with fibromyalgia can relate to this, but I feel like I am just being dragged along by my illness. I feel like I'm just at its mercy, and whatever it decides to do is what it decides to do, and I can't do anything about it, pretty much. But I have been scared lately that it has simply gotten worse and is going to stay this way. And I don't like being in that mindset. You know, like, I don't want it to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, yeah, I'm scared that it's just getting worse and that it's gonna stay this way. But I'm also scared that the more I dwell on that fear, the more it's going to exacerbate my symptoms, if that makes sense. Which kind of brings me to another thing that has been on my mind a lot, which is OCD. I have OCD, and I find that it does play a significant role in my experience with chronic illness and fibromyalgia specifically. Since I have been living with chronic pain for more than 10 years and have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia for about 4 years at this point, I have explored pretty much every mode of treatment there is for fibro. I haven't exactly tried everything. There are medications I haven't tried, mostly just because I've spoken to other people with fibro who've taken those medications and not had any relief, but also had undesirable side effects, and I just don't want to fuck with that at all. It doesn't seem worth it to me. What I'm getting at is I've tried so many things, I've explored so many options for treatment, and one of those things that I have explored is brain retraining, or basically training your brain away from pain. And that is one thing that I have found myself very fixated on in a not healthy way, because a lot of what you'll read about when you look into like brain retraining for chronic pain or for fibro or just like generally chronic illness, what you'll find is that it has a lot to do with your mindset and your thoughts and the way you think about and react to your pain and your symptoms in general. And that has not been healthy for me. Let me be so real. It has actually been really detrimental to my mental health. My OCD goes into overdrive when I get so focused on my thoughts and my mindsets, because with OCD, of course, you have intrusive thoughts, you have thoughts that you can't control, and when I'm in the mindset of trying to retrain my brain, I am always hyper aware of like any thought I'm having that could be setting me back or whatever. And so brain retraining, not for me. And that sucks because I've like read really good things about it. I've, read anecdotes from people who have done it and found that it had good results for them. But I don't see that being me as long as I have OCD. Anyway, what I'm getting at with all of that essentially is I get fixated on my mindset around my illness a lot. Even when I'm not actively in the process of trying to do any kind of brain retraining, I feel like ever since I even learned that was a thing, I internalized it, and it just like is stuck there now, and I'm like always concerned about what my mindset is doing to my illness and my body. It's like walking a tightrope. Anyway, before I got on that whole tangent, what I was getting at was, I don't know where that version of me went that said all that stuff about living my life anyway despite being in so much pain, because right now I am just feeling really beaten down by it. My therapist even commented on it recently. I've had like week after week after week therapy sessions where I get in there and she asks me how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, and like my energy is so low, and one of the first things I say almost every time is I'm tired. And without getting too into it, because I will cry if I get too into it, I can't remember a time when the pain was this bad consistently, and it is making daily life so fucking hard. And fuck. I used to like really like my job. I know that's not like a typical thing that you hear from a cashier, but I do and did generally really like my job. I work at a really good store, and it's like good people, like majority of the people I interact with. I have really good coworkers, everybody's great. And even though I have been in pain since I started working there, since long before I started working there, I liked my job more than I couldn't stand doing it because of the pain. Even when the pain really sucked, and even when I was really tired, I still could find joy in the parts of my job that I liked. And don't get me wrong, I still do. Like, I still have moments for sure when I'm at work and I have a good experience, a good customer interaction that makes me feel good. But those things used to sustain me at my job, and they don't anymore because I'm in so much pain that I just can't stand to go there, like, at all. Anyway, in my skincare routine, normally after that I would use this thingy and do some like pore extractions, but I just simply don't feel like doing that, so I'm not gonna today. I'm just gonna move on to toner. This is the one that I use. I really like it, it's my favorite toner. But yeah, it has been extremely hard for me to do my job. Thankfully, I work at a place where my managers are very willing to work with me. I just recently talked to one of my managers about doing shorter shifts so that I don't have to be on my feet for so long at one time. And that does make me feel a lot better than I was feeling before I had that conversation. But today, I literally only worked 4 hours and I was so exhausted. I was so exhausted, and I was literally limping to my car after I clocked out. And I feel like it's very rare I get to the end of the day these days without a headache. By the way, I'm using the Cosrx Snail Mucin Essence. Anyway, literally every day I wake up and I think, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I need to quit this job. And there are certain factors involved that would have to happen in order for me to be able to do that, but that's where I'm at. Now I'm going in with my Neogen Acne Clearing Overnight Mask. I don't know if it's just like the change in season. Maybe it's just the fact that it's getting cold and dark and I tend to get depressed this time of year. But I feel like back in the summertime when I was in a lot of pain, I was still happy. I was still like living it the fuck up, you know? But I haven't felt that way for the last like at least month or so. And sure, like I still have moments of happiness, moments of joy, moments of calm and of pleasure. I can still feel those things, but my baseline these days is not happiness, which sucks. Don't love that. For my last step, I'm going in with the Cocoa Kind Texture Smoothing Cream. And I'm gonna put like a couple of drops of vitamin E oil. Once it gets into like the winter time, I like to add vitamin E oil like about once a week into my skincare routine. I don't use it often because it can like clog your pores, but I have combination skin and it's been like really dry and flaky, and it just tends to get that way in the winter time. So about once a week I add a bit of an oil like that into my moisturizer, and always the next morning I make sure to like thoroughly cleanse to make sure that none of it is like left over in my pores. I don't use an eye cream. I've never been an eye cream person. I kind of like would like to be an eye cream person, but I just simply like don't care enough to spend the money on a dedicated eye cream. You know what I mean? Like, my moisturizer is just fine for under my eyes, if you ask me. And maybe somebody who's more into skincare than I am will tell you that that's wrong, but I don't care. It works for me. I feel like I probably should have done a little bit more of an exfoliation before the rest of my skincare routine, because I can literally feel some flakiness going on. But again, I'm too tired to give a fuck. So November is over. You know, I was gonna go hiking in November. October really got away from me. I didn't have the time to go hiking, even if I physically could have. But like November came and went, and sure, I was like busy and stressed and was struggling to find the time to do literally anything that I wanted to do. But even if time weren't an issue, if someone were to have asked me if I wanted to go hiking at literally any point during the past month, I would have been like, hell no. I physically couldn't if I wanted to. And that just brings me back to the whole I'm gonna live my life and I don't care if it hurts mentality that I was in back in summer. Where did she go? I want her back. I miss her. But like, I guess that kind of just goes to show how much more pain I'm in now than I was then. Even though at the time I was in so much pain that I was like falling back into the despair spiral about it, I was still able to like push through the pain and do the things I wanted to do, like jump and flail around at concerts and whatnot. I would not be able to do that right now. The idea of doing anything that could even potentially exacerbate my pain makes me want to fucking die. And yet here I am making all of these plans for next summer. I now have plans to go to 3 different concerts. 2 of them are 3 days apart from each other. How am I gonna do it? I don't know. I don't fucking know. And I'm really excited about those things. I guess it's just the mentality of like, that's a problem for future Rowan, because like April is so far away, right? It's November right now. April 2025 is like, that doesn't even exist to me yet. Last thing I'm gonna do is put on a little bit of my Burt's Bees overnight lip treatment. I feel like this is a pretty decent dupe for the, what is it called? The Laneige overnight lip mask, or whatever it's called. I love that stuff, but ask me if I can afford it. The answer is no. Side note, if you couldn't tell, I dyed my hair black, which if you watched to the very end of my last video, you saw coming. The worst part of growing your hair out from a buzz cut is these fuck-ass pieces in the back that always stick out and never do what I want them to do. I absolutely loathe them and I don't know what to do with them. I don't want to trim them because I'm going for like a mullet / shag kind of look as it grows out. So I need these. I need this to grow. But God, my patience is being tested. Anyway, I guess I don't have all that much else to say, and I should probably in the video so that I can just go and pop a weed gummy and lay down with my heating pad on my back because I desperately need that. But there's no satisfying conclusion to this video. I guess I'm stalling because I'm trying to find a satisfying conclusion. By the way, if you hear noise in the background, my cat has decided that now is a good time to finish the food I put in her bowl this morning. God, I love her so much. I will literally cry if I look at her too long. You gonna come up? Good baby. If I got out a churu, then you would come up. Hi. Yeah. Hi, baby. Come say hi. She's being stubborn, but there she is. Her name's Gracie, and she is the absolute love of my life. She's gonna pretend that we're not here. Anyway, a lot of times in the past when I've had these despair spirals in regards to my chronic pain, I have found that I just need to express it and like move through it, release it, and after I do, I feel at least a little bit better. And I have not felt that lately. I haven't felt that release or that relief. I feel like I'm just in this constant state of like wishing it would get better, feeling defeated and scared. It just feels like it never ends. I don't know what else to say to wrap up this video, but I know that there are a lot of other people out there living with fibro and generally living with chronic pain, and I know that personally I find fibro to be a deeply isolating experience, and I don't have a lot of people to talk to about it who like get it. Like, don't get me wrong, I have amazing people in my life who I love so dearly and who love me very dearly and who will absolutely listen and absolutely lend their support and their love, and I am deeply and eternally grateful for that. But sometimes I just feel like the one thing missing is just to have somebody in my daily life who like deeply and intimately understands the experience of living with chronic pain, because it is such a lonely experience. I feel like if you have never experienced chronic pain or chronic illness, there's only a certain extent to which you can understand or empathize. And because of that, I find it important to talk about my experience, because I know that there are other people out there who feel that isolation. And I may not be a part of your life. I may not be somebody who, you know, you can have a conversation with when you're really down and feeling that despair like I am right now. But at the very least, if you can watch a video like this and feel that presence of somebody who gets it, that's important to me. That's why I'm here right now talking about it. I don't know what the future has in store for me in this physical vessel. I don't know what I'm gonna feel a month from now. I don't know how I'm gonna feel in the springtime when I have these concerts to go to and need to be able to function. I don't know if it's gonna get better. I don't know if it's gonna fluctuate in the way that I kind of need it to. I don't know if it's gonna get worse. I don't know if it's gonna stay this way indefinitely. I don't know what's gonna happen. This illness is very unpredictable. And that's kind of part of the despair of living with it. I don't know what tomorrow is gonna look like, and I don't know what next month is gonna look like, and I don't know what next year is gonna look like, and I don't know what my 30s and 40s and 50s are gonna look like. That's scary. And that's a whole other thing that I could talk about that I am absolutely not gonna get into right now, because I would be here all night and I would be a sobbing mess. But that's where I'm gonna leave it for tonight. Thank you for watching this, and thank you for hanging out and listening to me. And if you are someone who also is living with chronic illness and chronic pain, just know that you're not alone. I know how hollow that might sound coming from somebody that you don't know, but I hope at the very least, knowing that there's somebody out there who gets what it's like to live with this is some form of comfort to you. Yeah, thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. That's what I'm gonna go do right after this. I hope you stick around for the next video, and I'll see you hopefully very soon. Bye.